suppose I want to just start off kind of more or less at the beginning, really. When I started to consider subject matter for the sculpture, and I was at the Surrey History Centre in Woking, and looking at information that related to the site around the Electronic Arts headquarters in Onslow Street. And but I came across an article about the Guildford Guys in the Lady magazine from the late 70s. And I thought this was an incredible story, and I went up to the main desk and asked the lady at the desk what this was about. And she said to me, "Oh yes, well this is the closest that this rather genteel county has ever come to proper insurrection." And my instant reaction was, "What, Guildford?" And that was the point. That was when I was hooked. Reading the story of the guys, it was clear that in the early days it was the biggest community event of the year, and actually was a great deal of fun and excitement for a lot of people, and you know, the biggest thing they had to look forward to all year, which is why it went on for so long. Wasn't really a particular problem for the vast majority of Guildfordians who just wanted to enjoy themselves on the 5th of November. And the Guildford Guys made it possible for them to do that. I've been to Lewes bonfire night celebrations on a number of occasions. I think it's fantastic. You really envy the town of Lewes, their focus for creating such a community spirit. And this great rivalry, which I think kind of mirrors the Palio in Siena. You're in a certain camp. You focus on that, and the buzz that's created for that one night of the year is brilliant. And so, what I wanted to evoke in the sculpture is really part of that spirit. And so that's one side of the story of the design of the sculpture, bringing forward the bonfire, the symbol of celebration, still across the land. And so the location right opposite the courts buildings and the police station, of course, is perfect. And the chair here, emerging from the flames, this moment of in time in Guildford's history, when it rejected one culture and moved towards another, the acceptance of law and order in a civilised and respectable town. The chair symbolises that. So this is law and order presiding over the people of Guildford, and emerging from the flames of the experience of the Guildford Guys, of the era of the Guildford Guys. The basic elements of the sculpture are essentially in three parts. The base part here is referencing the language of street furniture and guardrails that you'd see in any town in England, and so this sort of the base rail and the top rail here are sort of using that sort of structure. Also, because it's part of a street design and is an acceptable design on a highway situation, which of course the roundabout is. But of course, the guys would have also burnt fences, and famously did. They would burn anything that they basically could get their hands on. So it was a fuel of choice for the Guildford Guys. And so essentially the fence is then catching a light, and so as you go above the handrail, the steels of the fence turns into flames, and atop the flames is the empty chair for the guy, which of course is a traditional part of the bonfire night celebrations. So we've now got the version 10 of the model, and there have been a couple of very particular adjustments to the design. The first one is that the footprint has been reduced from 5 metres to 4 metres, and that creates a more vertical structure, which I think works as a design solution, but also makes it steeper and therefore harder to climb. And the bar here has been raised to 2 metres, so you get a sense of human scale here and how high that is now. And also, the bars now converge into these ribbons of steel and into the flames, at the point where the second bar fits in. So that opens up the structure and actually makes it more permeable. And I think that as a design solution, it's a stronger one. The location that we're working on is the roundabout at the junction of Woodbridge Road and York Road, just on the outskirts of Guildford's town centre, so it's an ideal gateway to the town centre. And not only because it's an introduction to Guildford for visitors to the town, it also is well placed outside the police station and the courts buildings, and of course the reference to the law and order part of the story is so perfect. This piece of work has already started to create a buzz around the area. I've been interviewed on the radio. We've already Bernard Parker, David Rose have been interviewed talking about this subject. It's started to get a dialogue going, and about public space, about public art. You know, what is treasured and what isn't, what people like and what they don't, and it's prompted the question, particularly this proposal, of what does it mean to be a Guildfordian. Because the story of the Guildford Guys is one of Guildford deciding to be a very particular type of town. And those messages are visually represented here in this work. Obviously, people are concerned that it might encourage interaction, antisocial behaviour, call it what you will, but if that were the case, if we followed that principle through, we wouldn't have the lions in Trafalgar Square, or the statue of Winston Churchill in Parliament Square, or the statue of the Duke of Wellington on horseback in the city centre of Glasgow. So where do you sort of draw the line? Where do you sort of stop allowing people to take ownership of and interact with the work that is there as a gift to them? It would be marvellous for this gift to be welcomed with open arms, and for it to become a new gateway to the town centre and part of Guildford's identity and story, because it is so embedded in what makes Guildford the town it is today. We already have had some great ideas using the sculpture as a springboard for activities in Guildford. Educational projects in schools, a new cultural event based using this sculpture as a focal point. And I just wanted to read an excerpt here from Susie Campbell's support for the work. Through research, documentary making, investigative reporting and story making based on the sculpture and its history, young people would be provided with opportunities to look at their environment, their history and the social relations in which they are involved. The outcomes of such work would be to strengthen their sense of social responsibility and civic engagement. And so, if this has already prompted such worthy and exciting work, then where will we be in a year's time, or 2 years' time, or 5 years? Will we have a new cultural event for Guildford that becomes a really loved and looked forward to event in the way that the good times of the Guildford Guys once were?